I've definitely noticed, though, and the girls have noticed themselves, when they are watching certain kinds of shows, they behave differently toward each other. They behave differently toward me, toward their friends at school, or if they have friends over and they're watching something. One very specific example, there's actually two very specific examples of that, are the My Little Ponies show, which is so funny. I grew up playing with My Little Ponies, but they're different now. They're like sassier and cooler, I don't know. But they'll watch the My Little Ponies show, and it's mostly female characters. In the ponies are almost all girls. And there's a lot of like cattiness and like plotting against each other or bickering. And so I was kind of excited, like, oh, there's a new My Little Pony show out. We can try it, because I loved it from my childhood. And we watched it, and I was just sitting there like, oh, this is horrible. But I try not to say that, because I don't want to impose my values on my kids. I want them to engage with the media and come to that decision on their own. Like, I'm hoping that the values that I and my husband have just in life will sort of naturally show up in our kids, which doesn't always happen. But so we're watching this show, and I'm watching my girls kind of interact with it and get excited or get frustrated or whatever, and the show was over and we turned it off, and immediately they started bickering with each other and kind of not fighting so much, but just like, oh, you said this, just even with the same tone of voice as these characters in the My Little Pony show. And so I just, without like being too dramatic or anything, I just said, hey girls, I want to stop and take a moment and notice something. And I want to notice how you're talking to each other right now. And this isn't how we talk in our family to one another. We're kind with our words, we're kind with our tones, and just inviting them to like kind of notice how they're interacting. Oh, you're right, we're not interacting how we normally interact. They probably wouldn't. We're not treating each other how we normally treat each other. And then I said, and I also noticed that that's how the ponies were treating each other in the show. Oh yeah, they did fight a lot, Mommy, and they were really unkind to each other, and the tone of voice was not appropriate. and that having them say, I noticed those things in that show, and then I noticed myself mirroring that, even if they wouldn't have used those words. It was kind of like a little victory moment, like, oh yay, self-aware children. and I think that it kind of took the desire out of like, oh, here's this cool, like colorful, fun show about ponies, because what little girl doesn't like ponies? They don't ever ask to watch it anymore, because they know that it just like creates turmoil in themselves.